Hi, this is DJ Parata talking 80's films on DVD today. We're going to just look at some of uh, my favorite 80's movies that were released on DVD, and we'll just talk, real briefly about each film. All right, these were some pretty big movies from the 80's. All right, first up, The Breakfast Club. This was a very popular movie about these kids that were on detention. Actually, they had to like come in on a Saturday after regular school hours, and it's about these kids who um, they were from different backgrounds. Like in the movie, the guy on the far left, he was kind of like a bully type guy, right? Um, he wasn't a bad guy, but he was just one of those like pseudo tough guys. Um, the girl that's in the sitting on the floor with the black, she was kind of like a real kind of an introvert. She didn't really kind of talk too much. Um, the guy in the middle, he was like the jock, your athlete, right? Kind of one of the popular guys. Um, the girl next to him, wearing the pink, that happens to be Molly Ringwald, who was a big actress in many of those kind of high school type movies. She kind of played like a rich society type um, girl, from like a rich background. Like her parents were like kind of well off. Um, the last guy is like kind of like nerdy. You know, you're like kind of typical bookworm type student. So this movie kind of talked about how they kind of learned from each other because basically these five kids would never really kind of hang out together, right? Uh, and so after the couple of hours that they had to spend on a Saturday, they kind of became friends. So the Breakfast Club. All right. Next, we have Back to the Future, which I'm sure a lot of people know about this movie, right? Um, Going back into the 50's, where the main character, the Michael J. Fox character, he goes back in time and actually meets his parents um, before they were his parents, if that makes any sense. But he goes back and he like meets all these kids and it's like a real classic. Uh, I'm sure many of you have heard of it. Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox. One of my favorites here, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. All right. Um, what's interesting about this movie is that there were a lot of big actors that came out of it, like this guy Sean Penn. Um, but the story was actually based on a book, which was a true story. The guy that wrote the book, his name was Cameron Crowe. He was already a writer for Rolling Stone magazine. He went back to high school when he was maybe, I'm gonna guess, maybe in his mid 20s, and he kind of pretended to be a high school senior, and so he wrote about all the people that he met during that senior year. The only people that knew that he wasn't a student was the principal and maybe one or two teachers, but basically none of the students knew. And he kind of blended in with them, and he kind of, writes about all these characters that he met, and it's one of the classics, 80s classics. Okay, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. All right. Okay, John Travolta. This one from 1980, where he plays a cowboy, like an urban cowboy, and this takes place like around Houston, in that area. And if you remember, people that remember um, movies that had this mechanical bull in these like a big, I guess Texas, you want to call them bars, but they're like usually large establishments, and they used to ride this thing called a mechanical bull, and where if you can stay on this thing before it throws you off and onto the ground, you would win, I guess, prizes, and things like that. But this was a pretty good movie, Urban Cowboy. So check it out, John Travolta, Urban Cowboy. Also, Deborah Winger was in this movie. So I would recommend this movie. Had some great country music in the film. For the action film crowd, Jean-Claude Van Damme. This this DVD had two movies on it, but I'm just gonna focus on Bloodsport, which was like this martial arts tournament that he attended. He's an American, which is kind of funny because Van Damme is obviously not American. Uh, he is known as the Muscle from Brussels. But anyway, so it's like a action film for those that like uh, the karate genre. A 80's classic, Jean Claude Van Damme, right? Bloodsport. Next, one of my favorite 80's movies, Night Shift. This one stars Henry Winkler, who was known as the Fonz on TV's Happy Days, Michael Keaton, who later on became popular. He was the first Batman in the first Batman movie that was in the 80's. Shelley Long, who was from Cheers, um, she was in this too, and it's a really funny movie. Basic premise is that during the night, these two guys that work at the morgue, okay, of a city hospital, would kind of turn the morgue into kind of a shenanigans where they would kind of party it up because no one was around. The supervisor, he's gone home early, so very 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 funny movie. You know, um, talked about how they take the morgue and kind of make it into well, a house of prostitution where they have all these women coming in and out, and but anyway, it's funny, believe me. Another 80's classic, Night Shift. And this is one of my all-time favorite comedy films, Airplane. Um, you have to watch this one. Every single scene, there's something funny going on. Whether it's in the background, just every scene is full of things that you would have missed if you watched the original movie. All right, so I would highly recommend this one if you like comedies. One of the all-time, actually, is voted as one of the funniest movies of all time. Airplane. Leslie Nielsen. Great film. Yeah, see, these are some of the scenes from it, and but this is really a great comedy. So I would recommend this one, Airplane. Next, They All Laughed. which is a real romantic kind of a film. Look at the picture in the top. That's how Manhattan used to look like. And it's a New York movie, filmed entirely in the city, and it's just pure, um, romantic. If you want to just kind of enjoy a movie, that has some funny characters here. John Ritter from Three's Company, he's in it. All right. Um, some old time actors here: Ben Gazzara and Audrey Hepburn, who many of you may know from Breakfast at Tiffany's, and this was like her last film. They All Laughed, a really good romantic comedy. Next, Against All Odds, which has the theme song actually sung by Phil Collins. Uh, and this is like kind of an action movie, kind of suspense movie, um, part love story. Um, I would recommend this film. Uh, there's some great, um, scenery that they shot, um, in like the Caribbean, and great backgrounds, and suspense film. Okay, that moves quickly. All right, Against All Odds. Next, American Gigolo. Now, this is one of the big movies that kind of kicked off the 80's. This came out in 1980. This put Richard Gere on the map. All right, he before this, he had kind of like smaller roles in different movies, but he was never the star of the film. Now, this one, American Gigolo, with the great theme song by Blondie, this put Richard Gere on the map. After this, he did Officer and a Gentleman, um, um, Pretty Woman a little bit later, but this one really put him on the map. Great film, shot in like Italy, different locales, Europe, U.S., but this one really put him on the map. Also put the designer Giorgio Armani on the map, because Giorgio Armani prior to this wasn't really like a well-known designer yet, but after this film, even he became well known because he did the clothing for this film. So American Gigolo, definitely worth it. Um, American Gigolo, Richard Gere, he plays a a male prostitute, if you really want to come down to that. But he's with like international jet setters, and um, he gets framed for like a killing, and and the woman um, that could help him, she's married to like a high ranking, I think, U.S. senator. So it's like there's conflicts, right? So, but anyway, really good movie, American Gigolo, Richard Gere. Okay, next, I'm sure everyone recognizes this: Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator. This is Terminator One, which wasn't as good as Terminator Two in terms of the quality, but this one, definitely is special. Okay, the big line from the movie, "I'll be back." That's Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator. I'm sure everyone knows about this film, but it is definitely, if you haven't seen it, it's definitely a must see. Science fiction movie, about this Terminator, this, I guess, bad guy, a robot that comes back from the future to like try to kill off this kid who would one day lead the rebellion against these robots, right? So the story sounds a little intricate, right? But definitely a lot of action, and but a 80s classic. Okay, next, Tom Cruise, Risky Business. Definitely a very good Tom Cruise movie. One of his early, really big breakthrough films. Risky Business, very funny. Um, has some great scenes, and hey, it's Tom Cruise, right? So you can't go wrong with this one. Risky Business. All right, this one, Tom Hanks, Bachelor Party. This is a very, very funny 80s movie. Um, this was when, before Tom Hanks made it big. This was like his first movie, really. And it's like really funny. I mean, it's like kind of a little bit raunchy, but it's the 80s. So it's actually um, very tame, actually, for today. Okay, so great comedy. Um, you can't go wrong, and it's like really funny. Um, you can't go wrong with this one. Bachelor Party, Tom Hanks. Okay, and last but not least, Michael Douglas and Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction. Now, this one, I'm sure a lot of people know about this film. Um, it's about this guy who's a married man, but he has a affair with this woman, and he cuts it off afterwards, right? But she really doesn't want to take no for an answer, and she comes back and basically tries to get even by doing things to his family, and things like that. And she's sort of like psychotic. So this film was also a big movie. Okay, so I think you'll enjoy it if you just want to see some action, some excitement. All right, so there we have it. DJ Parata talking 80s films on DVD. All right, so please subscribe, share, like, and comment, good, bad, or otherwise. All right, so that's it for today. This is DJ Parata checking out. We'll catch you soon at the movies. Thank you.